Our homeless have iPhones and Netflix. Oh wow, congrats. Did you even hear yourself? Homeless but make it streamable?
Glad to have you, amazing viewer. I visited another interesting part of TikTok and I am here to share some teachers with you so that we can reason together. Like the video for recommendations, subscribe if you're new here, and let's dive into this.
So we do have a housing crisis here in China, but let me explain what is it. It is because that we build too much buildings for the past 20 years, and the population in the city is not enough. Most people are living on the countryside. For like 800 million people living on the countryside. So now China has to find a solution to sell it to these people at a reasonable price and also increase the employment rate for those people in the city.
Yeah, it is crashing. You should watch another video I've done about this topic specifically. Do you know why it's crashing? Because it's not sustainable. Do you know how expensive homes are in China compared to US? US homes are dirt cheap compared with the homes in China. In major cities in Hong Kong, Shanghai, some condos, like I'm talking about like, I don't know, 400, 500 square feet are selling like 5, 6, $10 million USD. Yeah. Who's going to able to live there? Nobody except the 1% of 1%. So the government is actually trying to figure out how to provide housing for everybody and not make it into a commodity and a game of real estate that we play. So in many ways, as I mentioned in other video, is that the government is actually trying to crash the market. So this way we allow the next generation to be able to afford homes because they have nowhere to live. Real estate is a major issue worldwide, everywhere. And that's such an essential thing we need to have. So, yes, crash it for all I can say.
Okay, I'm in a monthly hotel apartment in China right now, and not to be emotional on Maine, but I was looking for the building manager to make sure I had her information so I could renew my monthly lease because I have to leave the country and come back, and I'm worried about that. And she was like, okay, well, your renewal isn't until May 9th. And I was like, yeah, but I'm gone from the 6th to the 13th, and I'm going to leave some stuff here, so I need to make sure that it's done, so I'm not locked out. And she was like, it's literally fine. When you come back on the 13th, just pay then. And she's like, you don't need to rush it. Your stuff's going to be here. Just message me. I'll make sure, the code and stuff is ready for you. You don't need to pay me right now to ensure that it's going to be there. And just, when you come back on the 13th from your trip, just pay it then. And I don't know why. That made me emotional. Probably because I have a lifetime of dealing with landlords, threatening you if you don't pay, the minute of the day. Obviously people are nicer here because they live under different conditions. They don't live in the same state of capitalism and greed, and they don't have the same type of landlords or, the same threats under capitalism. But I just encountered these situations a lot where I'm no, I need to pay you right now to ensure it's done. They're it's gonna be done. You're gonna be fine. You're not gonna be on the street on the day that you come back. It's okay. And I have to be I'm traumatized. That is the advantage in China when you have housing surplus instead of housing shortages. To clarify, there are no housing shortages in America.
I'm looking into the housing market, and I decided to look up how many vacant homes are there in the United States. In 2022, there are 15.1 million vacant homes nationwide. So then I decided to look up how many homeless people are in America. As of 2022, there are 582,462 homeless people in America. Let's do the math on that real quick. If we were to house every homeless person, we would have 14,517,538 homes still vacant. What are we doing? What are we doing?
Millions and millions of houses that are sitting empty in the US. Why? Because the banks own them. Because the rates and the pricing that's been put on these houses are put to be competitive. And the people and the corporations really that own them are not willing to bring the prices down because it's an investment for them. They don't care that you want to live in a house. They know that they have all these houses that they could keep for their own value, and they could rent them at the highest price on the market because that's what the competitive price is. They don't need to give you anything because they're privately owned, they're corporations, they're Airbnbs, they're vacation houses, they're investments that people left behind that they don't really care about. They bought them up during a recession, maybe. They wanted to flip them and then didn't. There are enough houses, there are enough homes that you could currently fix the majority of the houselessness in America. When you go somewhere and you can't find housing, it's because you cannot find housing within your budget. When there is a shortage of housing, even if there really was, let's say, it is the government's responsibility to build them. In China, during a time where they were trying to fix and eliminate that issue, what they did is they invested in more and more and more high-rise affordable housing. And not affordable in the sense where they're trying to make these units that are, a few $100,000 less than the other ones for you to purchase and basically pay forever to the banks. They're government owned and you pay a subsidized rent to live in them. Why? Because they want you to be able to go somewhere and sleep and eat so you could go to work. Because under a communist government, under a socialism, you working and paying towards the system is valuable. It is not valuable for you to be on the streets when they want you to work and they want you to participate in society. They want you to have money to give into businesses. They want to create that circulation. But in a high capitalist society, it doesn't matter because the wealthiest that own everything want to just own more. They don't care if you're working. They care obviously to a certain extent right now because they need people at their jobs, but they're finding ways around it with like AI. Making AI customer assistants, Duolingo trying to replace everyone with AI. They only care about how much they can own, not how society runs. They will take their airplanes from one side to another. They don't care that you have transportation. They don't care if you have housing. They don't care if you have clean water.
Look at this.
Homelessness in China. So here's what's going on in China as far as homelessness. That's a security guard taking a nap. He's not homeless. And you can tell all the benches, they don't have any dividers. So if you want to sit there and rest underneath the awning, you can. It's a little bit of a rainy day today. You can see the sky is extremely cloudy and the ground's all wet. So he's just taking a nap. I hate to put this poor man on blast, but you know what? What's up, buddy? You're now famous. So anyhow, he's actually, I think he's a local security guard for the park, so he'd walk around and maintain things. And what's interesting is like the police and the security in the park, they actually do things like clean the water and pick up trash and help people navigate the park. It's not really about arresting people or threatening them like it would be in the United States. So it's pretty nice, and you're not going to see any homelessness or mental illnesses or uncared for people. Now, if you do run across someone who is truly homeless, they would give them a house. There's the rural village where there's more houses than there are people. At least in our local village, it's that way because so many people have moved into the city now for better opportunities and whatnot. So if somebody wants to stay in you can see again, there's no divider in the middle of the bench. I could sit there, take a nap if I wanted. And again, if somebody in the local village wanted to stay in our family home, that's happened multiple times where someone said, you know what, hey, we're out of a home right now, or, we're in between doing this or that, and we're going to be in the village for a few months. Can we stay in your home? And my Chinese dad's like, yeah, there's nobody there. So he'll have the house cleaned and then they'll move in. But a couple things to note on the housing situation is there's no homeowner's insurance because the house is mainly concrete. So there's really nothing to worry about structurally. And they don't really treat their house like we kind of they treat their car and their house differently, right? So a house is something that anyone can really enjoy. It's not their personal, I don't know how to describe it. A car is something really for them and their family. They wouldn't loan out their car like they'd loan out their house. Like, you need a place to stay? Oh, sure. Here's my house, or here's a bed, or whatever you need. You need a car, then that's kind of on you. There's other ways of transportation. So it's just different, I guess. The way we think about a car in the United States is the way they think about a car in China, right? It's kind of your personal car. We also in the United States think about that like with our house. It's our personal house. And it's a little bit more flexible in China. Like even in the local village, it's hilarious because everyone leaves their front door wide open. So I could just walk into some random person's house and say, hey, how are you? Have you eaten breakfast yet? And bring them a meal or bring them some hot water or whatever they want. And it's just, it's interesting to say the least. So hopefully this was helpful and shows you a side of China you wouldn't otherwise see or hear. Cheers.
Our homeless have iPhones and Netflix. Oh wow, congrats! Did you even hear yourself? Homeless but make it streamable? What's next? We may not have homes, but at least we've got 4K and Wi-Fi. Meanwhile, in China, we don't have people living on the sidewalks with a data plan. But hey, if that's your idea of winning, go off, I guess.
Hey, what's up, America? Being poor in America. So I want to talk about how difficult it is to get out of poverty here in the United States, specifically if you're already homeless. So let's start with a person that's homeless, because you'll find out quickly it's impossible to get out of homelessness almost, as long as you're living in America. So when you're homeless, you have no place to live, you can't wash your clothes, you have no internet, generally no phone, and of course no means of conveyance like a car or any type of vehicle. And generally, if you're homeless, your credit score is in the shitter. So the first thing you'll want to do when you're getting out of homelessness, of course, is find a job and a place to live. But of course, you can't find a place to live without a job, right? Because every place in America that you rent has to have 3 times the income. So if it's $1,500 a month, you have to make $4,500 a month to live there. So generally, if you're going to be living in an apartment anywhere, you're going to have to pony up $2,000 to $3,000 and have a pretty decent job as well. On top of that, you're going to have a phone number for someone to call you back. That could be as little as $20 a month or as much as a couple hundred, depending on who you go through. Of course, you got to have good credit. That's right, the old credit score boogeyman has come out to get you once again. Of course, if you've ever been charged with anything, you're not going to be living anywhere. Don't forget about $600 or $800 you need for clothing, shoes. Probably need a car too if you live somewhere outside of a major American city like New York, Chicago, or LA, because there's no public transport, you see. And so I would estimate to get out of homelessness, you would need anywhere between $10,000 and $20,000 in cash, plus a good credit score, something that homeless people will never find. And then of course the rest of it is just basically you floating along, trying not to sink into poverty, working constantly yet never gaining either, right? So you're sitting there barely above water and you can feed your family and you can pay for everything, but you have no money left over for vacation, no money left over for any other expenses except the basic necessities. That's most of America, right? So in order to get out of poverty, you'd have to triple your income immediately or have the super wealthy help you. And since that'll never happen, we're stuck in this daily grind where if we stop, we'll be homeless. And if we get into homelessness, you can't get out of it. A little cushion financially would be very helpful, but that's not conducive to the government, because if they give you a cushion, you might experience freedom, and you're not allowed to do that here. Because you see, here in America, money buys freedom. That's unfortunate, but true.
Okay, let me tell you the Chinese living standard. What's the point if you make $60,000 a year, but you have no savings? If you lost your job, you lost ability to make money, you become homeless. What's the point you spending your whole lifetime fighting with Democrats or Republican or cursing your president, doing all kinds of protests, but your society getting worse and worse, more and more dangerous for people to live in, and more difficult for people to survive in that system? What is the point of that? What is real freedom? The way I appreciate freedom is, if I don't want to do something, I don't need to do it. I don't want to work, I don't need to work. That is a real freedom of human life. The cultural differences between China and the United States is huge. So many things we have completely opposite. And I wish more people could think about it. What is real freedom for you, for common people, not for oligarchs, not for those people in power and with a lot of money? Because in the end, we are common people, normal people. What is really good freedom for us?
I hope you're enjoying the compilation to this extent. If there is a kind of people who have understood the real meaning of freedom, I would say this type of people. Go back to America?
Why the hell would I go back to America? So I can work 60-hour weeks, make 6 figures a year, and still live like I'm freaking poor? Are you crazy? Do you want to know what the real American dream is? I'll tell you. It's making US dollars online, and it's leaving the USA with that amazing passport that gets you access all over the world. There's Asia, there's Europe, there's South America. There's so many beautiful, amazing places that you can visit, and you can travel, and you can live your dream while people are clocking in, clocking out, getting taken advantage of by the system that is engineered to extract value from you your whole life. Go to school, go to college, get in debt, get a job, work 60 years, then die. That is not God's plan for me. You got to wake up and you got to realize the system is not for you. You got to do the exact opposite of everything they tell you to do. I don't know, working for me. Maybe I'm full of crap though. If you want to learn how I use AI, cryptocurrency, online business, social media, content creation to make money online and live my dream, go to my website, kevinoff.com.
You know what's interesting? Is the way these two countries keep beefing online, while the problem of one country could be the solution of the other. We have on one hand Americans who are on the street. They don't have houses because some elite are hiking the price. They can't afford the houses while there are houses in their country. Okay, on the other hand, we have Chinese who have built way more houses than they need, and they're so affordable and nobody's living in them. So these are two countries that are constantly beefing online instead of exploring opportunities that each country has to offer and be at peace, harmonize, and do things and live beyond politics. Because at the end of the day, what you want is an affordable lifestyle. We don't want to suffer. Nobody wants to suffer. Because at the end of the day, we just want an affordable lifestyle. And what if you consider this?
This is for anyone who wants to retire early. So I've been thinking about this for a while because I don't know, I gotta work till like 68 or something to get my retirement funding in this place. I can't do this for another 20 plus years. That's crazy. Anyway, so I looked into like potentially retire in China, and I did the math in cost of living in some cities. It's really good. And you get the whole infrastructure, right? Like you get, drone delivery of food to you. You get like travel around different places, and it's super safe because they got like, nobody has guns. Like police don't have guns, so like it's nice. And it's such a big country, you can get like a little bit of like everything. You can get really cold weather if you want, or you can go, the desert, and you get beaches and all of that. And you have the train system that just takes you everywhere. And it's such a big country, so like you can live in areas where you don't even need to speak the language essentially, in some of the foreign sort of like dominated cities. So anyways, I've been thinking about this, and they have sort of a retirement visa, which I think they don't really advertise. Nor do people really think about it. It's not like a place you go travel, or to retire per se, right? And anyways, I'm looking into this myself because I'm like, I don't want to work till like I'm 68 to get my 401k or RSP. And they have really good healthcare. Like the healthcare system, it's like super fast, it's super cheap. So take care of myself there. So anyways.
마인드 오픈, 이주요 마인드 오픈.
An incredible experience. At the very top of the list is the kindest, nicest people I've ever met in my life. They don't have an agenda.
Yeah.
They truly want to help you. They are truly committed to senior citizens.
Yeah.
We don't have that kind of treatment in the United States. When you get to be a senior citizen in the United States, more often than not, you're not regarded at all. You're just sort of swept away, believe it or not.
小红书